Pushkin.
It's my firm belief that our culture doesn't put enough stock in family bands. I mean, just think about the groups that include siblings. Sly and the Family Stone, the Beach Boys, the Bee Gees, Haim, Oasis, AC/DC, the Jacksons. It makes sense that kin would develop uniquely powerful musical chemistry. After all, a love of music usually does start in the home. And the same is true of our guests today, Momo, Abraham, Angel, and Israel Boyd of the group Infinity Song. The four siblings were raised in musical households between Detroit and New York, honing their sound wherever they could, in churches, in parks, subway stations, even around the kitchen table. That devotion to performing carried them to bigger stages, guided by their father and manager John Boyd and eventually Jay-Z's Rock Nation. And their fervent love of music fuels their unmistakable blend of R&B and folk, a mix they proudly describe as modern-day soft rock. I spoke to the Boyd siblings at the Tribeca Festival in New York for a live Broken Record event. We discussed the role of music in their family, how their dad came through in the clutch during a make-or-break meeting with Jay-Z, and graciously they performed a couple of songs from their album, Metamorphosis Complete. This is Broken Record. Real musicians, real conversations. Just a quick note here. You can listen to all of the music mentioned in this episode on our playlist, which you can find a link to in the show notes. For licensing reasons, each time a song is referenced in this episode, you'll hear this sound effect. All right, enjoy the episode. It's so great to be here with you guys and to be here with Infinity Song at Tribeca Festival of all places. It's a storied festival, and I think we're here tonight with talent that will be held in that regard. This is a new group, and they are already have such incredible music. As you'll see tonight, their live show, and this is stripped down, is phenomenal. So without further ado, Israel, Angel, Abraham, and Momo, Infinity Song. I gotta say, through this job, I've been privileged to be around a lot of performers. Babyface comes to mind, seeing him perform up close and personal. Neil Young, right? But this is my first time getting a chance to see you guys and just getting to see the love of music that you guys have and the passion you guys have for performing. It warms my heart because it's something that I see a lot in an older generation, but I don't always see the love of performance, and I don't always see that passion flowing through people. But when you guys perform, it's evident that there was probably nothing else you guys could have done but be musicians. Do you feel like there's anything else you guys I mean, this seems like what you were born to do.
Oh, well, I guess that's a loaded question in the sense, well, first of all, thank you for having us. We've had many conversations since being here, but this is for you guys. So thank you, Justin, for having us. We are so appreciative to have the privilege to have this conversation. So our parents raised us, I think, to be able to do anything. That was a mindset in our family. But so they raised us to pursue excellence and to pursue being well-rounded people and with integrity and character. But music was the tool that was used to develop that in us. So I probably could not be anything but a singer only by choice. I could be more, but it just wouldn't work for me. But that everybody has their own answer.
Yeah, I would say performance is definitely like one of the loves of our lives. We've been performing for so long. It's really funny. Some people who have seen us perform more than once know that usually on Dreams, we actually come back in.
What? Did I ruin it? Did I come up too soon?
A little bit. We should have warned you.
I should have come earlier in the week and gone to the Blue Note. I messed up.
So we do like, we fake end it, build the tension, and then we come back.
Guys, let me go walk off this stage. I failed already. I have failed everyone here. I have failed you guys and myself.
I mean,
she just wanted to say that.
yeah,
That's
I just
okay.
wanted to say
That's
that.
okay. That's okay.
You know, if you still want us to come back in, we can.
Come, bring it back. Bring it back. Bring it back.
So serious.
I want it to come back in.
Okay, so now could we have been anything else? Let's
Back
see.
to the question. No, hold up. That was worth the public shaming, all right? That was wonderful.
Not
No
really.
shaming.
Just public informing.
It was a wonderful PSA. I'm so glad you brought that to my attention. Yes, but back to I mean, come on. There's no way you guys were born to do this. Did you hear that? Unbelievable. But loaded question, leading question. You guys probably have your own thoughts, you know.
I mean, obviously, there's like you can get into a lot of philosophy and all that, but I would say, yeah, we were born to do this.
This cover of Dreams is beautiful.
Thank you.
You know, and it's not something that would have been, not even that long ago, it would have been shocking to see, you know, 4 black siblings just killing Dreams by Fleetwood Mac, you know? Like, because that's in the territory of classic rock and...
You know, there's so much that could be said. I mean, it really isn't novelty to us on that side. It's real and it's organic to us. It's music that we enjoy, and most importantly, it's music that we can all come together around. A song is a song, and a song, sure, different cultures contribute songs to the world, and your different cultures contribute perspectives to the world. But once it leaves and is released to the world, it belongs to the world, quite frankly. And so, you know, unless you're going to block the dissemination of the of the creative, it's like, I like that song, I want to sing it. That's what it is super cool about music. And we're starting to see it, you know, boundaries and different cultural and ethnic backgrounds. The way hip hop really got, like, the biggest consumers of, say, hip hop suddenly are not who created hip hop or not.
Right.
It's just changed the way that
It's shit. Like, it happened to blues music at a certain
everything.
point. You know?
It's just like, okay,
Yeah.
suddenly it's for the world.
Yes.
And it's kind of nice.
Yeah. It's a really beautiful way of putting it, that music is for the world. And that was for so many years, the issue with putting music in a genre and essentially in a box and done by a marketing team to market to a certain audience, you know, and it's like, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter. Everyone likes the same stuff. Everyone likes the same stuff. Who doesn't like Dolly Parton? Who doesn't like Beyonce? Who doesn't like Whitney? You know, it's like, come on, you know.
Okay. Yes, I will. Music is for the world. Music is great. But there's still very much an ongoing conversation about genre and about who's allowed to sing this genre or that genre. I think specifically, Cowboy Carter is a great example of, you know, a woman who grew up in Texas, who really identifies with country roots and has so much to say in this sphere, but then wasn't necessarily embraced, you know, because she hasn't been doing that like full out for years. And I, you know,
That's one group though that's not accepted.
Okay.
So to be clear, I think genre is valuable, and I think building a culture is valuable. So I don't really have too crazy of a problem with gatekeeping a culture, because if you build a culture and it becomes potent and important to the world, I think you can be protective of it. I think the challenge is, and my thinking is, let's not be controversial this conversation. I think the challenge is that it's not equal, meaning the guardianship of genres is not equal.
Of course.
And the beneficiaries of genres are not. I don't want to go too.
No, you're right. No, you're right. But
one thing I will say is that specifically, you know, America is a very particular place.
You are so politic.
Let's wrap it up.
But a lot of the genres, the roots of them, these genres did not just pop up out of nowhere in the last 50 years.
Yeah.
And then I think where the problem lies is when people forget or they're not educated.
Yeah.
And and by the way, it's not only like if we're talking strictly white and black, it's not only white people who will look at us or, someone black and say like, oh, you shouldn't be doing country, you shouldn't be doing rock. A lot of times we'll say that to ourselves, not us, but black people will say that to ourselves because there just is like a lack of education on just how the foundation of these genres came to be, And so I think overall we just don't know the history of things, which is why Cowboy Carter is so cool because now we're getting into the nitty gritty. Now we're seeing like with the backlash, it forces all of us to study, to read, to learn, to look past the past like 25, 50 years and really look into like the origins of these things.
Where did the genre come from?
Right. And then it then opens up the conversation for all of us to feel at home here. Instead of it being like one person, one group of people, it's like, no, the evolution of this genre was actually very integrated.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people coming together and just trying to make something good, And so when you kind of are forced to look back into the history of things, I think that's when change is made and we can move forward because if we're listening to like, okay, granted I'm 26, but if we're listening to 20-year-olds, they're only going to know what's been put in front of their face over the past like 10, 15 years if they haven't actively gone and looked and studied. So we've got to really, and the people who are leading the conversations a lot of times on the internet are 20-year-olds. So, so it's just very, 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 it's very layered naturally.
That's why a group like you guys is so important. It's so beautiful, And I grew up playing guitar, and it was like, I was in a rock band, and people would be like, "Yo, what the?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I like, what?" I saw Hendrix. I was like, I grew my hair out. I was like, I want to be Hendrix. I didn't turn out to be Hendrix. You're closer to him than me. It's real, but it's like there really shouldn't be limitations put on us. Again, we can move out of the controversial, as Abraham would say.
It shouldn't be that
portion.
controversial, but I think it's like a minefield because one of these sidebars, you could really say something crazy.
I just want to ask, have you guys met Beyonce?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have. We didn't sign an NDA, so yeah, we can talk about it.
Wow, you met Beyonce? Wow,
a few times, just casually.
Casually.
There's no such thing
We
as
ran
meeting
into her
Beyonce.
at Target.
She had her hoodie on.
There's no such thing as meeting Beyonce casually.
I just mean it wasn't under the under like a work environment, so we didn't have to sign anything.
Okay. Well, I mean, and for context, you guys are signed to Rock Nation, which is Jay-Z's label, which is why I asked if you guys have met Beyonce, because the affiliation. Did you guys play her any music? Had she heard it or?
We didn't play her music, but I believe that we have heard that she has heard our music. But yeah, it's just an honor always to meet such an icon and a legend. Always been very gracious to us as well. And so, we love her. Big fans of her on and off the stage.
Yeah, she's really nice.
Yeah.
And she always points at our eyebrows because Israel has a very strong example of this, but in our family, in our genes, we have like an eyebrow flick or something. And I think she has the same thing. And like in her childhood pictures, you can see she has one eyebrow that goes really up. So she'll like, the eyebrows, them.
Now, always might be a stretch, but
well, the few times we've met her, she has been very excited to see that we have that in common.
She's like, my cousins. I'm like, yes, please, thank you.
Yeah, I would die to have some connection,
some sort of
no matter
connection,
how thin, to Beyonce's family line. Rock Nation is such a cool group There's so many great and cool artists under there. I just interviewed Bootsy Collins like last week, and they just picked up like Bootsy Collins. And you're like, what? Like what in the world? Like it's such a wonderful collection of artists. What's it like being heralded by someone like Jay-Z? You know, because like it's an honor, but it also could be like heavy. I'd imagine, right? Like
One thing that it has not been is heavy. I do have to say that because when we signed roughly almost, we signed 9 years ago as a family. It was a joint venture between our family's company and Rock Nation. And there was really a connection between him and our dad that set the relationship off to a really, really good start. And there was an understanding there. I can't really speak to it crazy, but because I think it was like a relationship man to man, and sure we were there, but there was a trust there so it's been very free for us as a group. So we switched genres. We were doing more R&B leaning, and then we walked into the label one day and said, we're doing soft rock now.
how does that go?
Can
like,
you imagine the freedom that you have to be able to do that? And early on in the relationship, one of the meetings, Jay-Z, he gave us permission and empowered us to run our own race. He said the words, don't try to catch up to us, wait for us to catch up to you. And so that was very empowering, and it set the tone for the relationship. I'm not going to say that we've never, disagreed on anything within the label, because that just wouldn't be honest.
Don't get controversial, Abraham.
No. What I'm saying is it's been a great relationship. It's worked out really, really well.
So you have to that's cool. It's a record label, meaning you have to kind of set the tone in some way. And you were given permission by...
Exactly.
That's just incredible.
And that's why I said, of course we've disagreed. And he said that in the meeting. He's like, we will disagree on some things. But he said, do not try to catch up. I want to frame it in a way that just because you're given permission does not mean that you don't have challenges. That's more my thinking in the framing.
Yeah. The change from R&B to soft rock, how does that happen? How does that transpire within the group? Like what made you guys gravitate towards that kind of music?
It's something that kind of happened organically. It's really hard when you're trying to figure out how to position yourself or market yourself. I think you can get really in your head about what's the right move. For me, it just so happened that I was in a space where I wanted to keep doing things in life that felt good. We were posting covers online of songs, and Dreams by Fleetwood Mac was one of these covers that we posted. It went viral, was just a huge, our arrangement of it was so singular. And so when we put it online, like everybody loved it. And we moved on, we did other covers. A few months goes by, and there was something about the way that we performed that song and arranged that song. I just remember us, before ever posting it, like coming up with that like end tag in the back room of our house where we rehearsed. Like I just remember us wanting to sing it over and over and over again. And being completely honest, when you're working with your siblings, that doesn't happen every day. It's more so like you want to stop singing as soon as possible and move on. So fast forward, like, okay, thinking about the future of the band, like if I wanted this to feel like something every day, it would be that moment. So that's how I kind of framed it in my mind. And I was thinking about it. I was like, maybe we need to sing more of that kind of style of music. And I just presented the idea to everyone else after thinking about it for a long time. I was like, actually, as a collective, I think soft rock really does represent us, because it's a genre where we can each collectively like play to our strengths all at the same time. It's not one person's, in their sweet spot and the other people are like struggling or whatever. It's like equally across the board able to highlight us as both a group and individuals at the same time. So everyone kind of was like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
I would also say when we did sign to Rock Nation, we didn't necessarily sign with a genre picked out. You know, we like kind of, I don't want to say we auditioned for Jay-Z, but we did perform on the top floor for him in the office. And it looked something like this with a guitar and us just singing. Like we didn't.
You with the guitar?
No. Victory was playing the guitar and then we were all singing. So it wasn't like we came in with 5 songs ready to be played that are in the studio and they're leaning towards a genre. Like, there was no genre picked out for us, but he more so saw the vision of us, and he saw similarities between our story and his story. And, you know, he sold his CDs out the back of his truck, and we would sell CDs when we were growing up. Like, our dad would have us in the studio just working on old songs like hymns and gospel songs, but also songs that he had written or we'd written together. And we would sell those. Like, we would sell them to people on the street. Like, hey, want to buy our music? And so, like, that kind of foundational drive, I think more is what he signed us for. So when we did start getting in the studio and making music commercially, I think it was more of maybe a self-imposed pressure to do what felt like it could be commercially viable. Like, he never told us, like, you got to do R&B.
Right.
But, you know, trying to find your legs and trying to find out, like, okay, it's just a part of the process. You go through different genres, you go through different things until you kind of return home, or you kind of return back to what you've always done, which is melding our voices together in sweet harmonic ways, and writing very honest and truthful lyrics, and finding a place, like Angel said, finding a place for us all to shine. So we were never told to be R&B or pop. It was just kind of part of the process until we landed to something that felt so natural.
It's amazing.
Wait, very quickly. There's one aspect of this story that I feel like I need to tell because people don't know it. So this might be the first time I'm telling this story. So, key fact, our dad, he somehow got, I don't remember how it happened, but he got in contact with Jay-Z and he sent him an email. I don't know how it happened, but we ended up in the office and our dad had a pitch. He was going to pitch the family to Jay-Z. He brought a deck, a whole deck, spent I don't know how many days building this deck. And so we get in the room. It's just it's our family. It's Jay and it's Tai and someone else was there, and it's our family. And he starts going through the deck line by line by line by line by line, and the presentation probably took 20 minutes or something. And he was nervous for sure. I don't know. I would have to ask him how he felt, but I anticipate he was nervous. By the time he got done through the deck, the next thing we were being offered was a record deal. Like, it was instant. It's hard to put into, as we're talking about this relationship and the 9 years and the work and all of that stuff and our story and our history, it's pretty crazy and pretty admirable, and it's just a byproduct of what we keep in mind as we continue forward. Like, I'll never forget that deck. Yeah.
I feel like you should teach a master class on that deck. We need to bring that deck out. I need the secret.
I just made the connection. Okay, yeah, Father's Day is on Sunday. so happy Father's Day, Daddy.
Great occasion to honor our father. Mr. Boyd.
After one last break, we'll be back with the rest of my conversation with Infinity Song from the Tribeca Festival.
You said, Abraham, that when you guys were raised, and by the way, hometown band was announced at the top, New York. Yes, New York. New York by way of Detroit.
Yes.
I just want to make that clear because Detroit is one of the great American cities, produced some of the great American vocalists, and you guys, in some way, are in that tradition, and some others as well. But it's just, but you were raised in Detroit, and you partially, and you said that your dad used music as an instrument to teach you guys all kinds of things. And
yeah, he's here, by the way. It's right there.
Mr. Boyd.
And he used it growing up, but it's also something that he still uses to kind of mentor us and teach us. He's our manager as well. So it's been a tool since childhood, and it's something that is still a tool of learning for us as a family. So Detroit gave us our talent, New York gave us our dreams. And that's often the story. Usually it's hard to break through in the Midwest. The South has figured it out, but the Midwest has not. So that's our story as well.
Yeah. I just want to make clear. So 4 siblings are here, but how many total were in the house growing up?
There are 9 of us in total, yeah.
Yeah, that's a job well done, Dad. As a dad myself, I can only hope to.
Wait, how many do you have?
2 and 1 on the way. So
When is the new one?
September.
Ooh,
Yeah.
It's close.
I'm a
stressful
baller.
summer.
It's so in so many ways. But yeah, I could only. I mean, without pushing music on my kids, I try to keep the house musical, and similarly, I hope I'm trying to use music as a way to teach my kids. Not that they'll be musicians, but just to teach them. You mentioned integrity. You can learn so much about integrity and character through music and through having a love of music, because it really connects you to humanity and the people around you. Was you guys in a musical house? Was it, how was it musical? It was clearly musical, but how was it musical?
It was musical in the small ways and the big ways. So like my dad waking us up by blasting music through the speakers.
Or by just singing really loudly.
We're just singing really loudly. Or every day gathering around the table and he's beating on the table, using the table as a drum. And he has us improvising on the spot. I remember being so young when my older siblings would jump in and be able to make up words and make up melodies. And I was like, will I ever be able to improvise like that? So it was just a household of adapting, learning on the spot, being able to be creative and think outside of the box a little bit. I think that's when you're young, you don't really understand all the lessons that you're being taught, and a lot of people use so many mediums to teach their kids. There are sports families, there are like there are so many different ways to teach your kids these fundamental life lessons, but I think music, being our parents' way, was so powerful because that's what you need. You need a spirit of creativity. You need to be able to think on your feet. You need to be able to deliver a riveting performance in other ways, in other areas of life, and win people over and speak people's language from heart to heart and unite people. There's so many lessons that music teaches us that you only start to realize when you get a little bit older.
I imagine the church as well had to do that for you guys, right?
So for us, growing up, we were exposed to a lot of music, but we were not exposed to all music growing up. So what that means is we grew up really steeped in gospel music, classical music, and jazz. And then fourth, it was soul, but it wasn't like all soul. It was like Marvin Gaye and
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Earth, Wind, and Fire, and like Ron Isley. It was a limited list. It
Premium.
It wasn't everybody, and so I think it was by design. Those were really foundational genres that taught us music. Our dad being a choir director, having multiple choirs back in Detroit, choral music was key to our foundation. So we really didn't get into pop music until teenage years, which is funny because now we do pop music. I don't know.
Well, how does that happen? How do you guys go from, if the order of operations musically in the home was gospel, classical, jazz, and a smattering of top shelf soul, then how do you guys go from that's your diet to when you guys are performing, becoming more of a pop group?
I would say also a big part of it is that we all grew up obviously informed by the same, root, but we all took different things. We're all different branches of the same tree. So, Momo or Abraham or Angel or whoever might gravitate more towards one thing, and then I might gravitate more towards another thing. And I think over time that shaped us. You're hearing kind of an amalgamation, Like I remember growing up on gospel and classical and jazz, but I didn't actually I didn't understand music for myself or even really listen to music until I was 16 or 17. So there was when I was a child and I would hear gospel or classical and jazz in the house, and I loved especially an artist my dad would play, Pat Metheny. Was a really big fan of him.
Yeah.
I was around 13, maybe 14. We were doing an interview and somebody asked, who are your favorite artists? And I had no idea because I understood music. I just didn't, I had not discovered it for myself. So I was like Michael Jackson and I don't know. I like these genres. And then as I got older personally, it wasn't so much discovering what I like, more so it was putting faces to the things I already knew I liked since I was a child. So I remember, I don't know if we're supposed to say his name anymore, but Kanye. I remember first time I listened to him, I was like, oh, this puts I think the first song I heard was Blood on the Leaves. And I was like, this sounds like, it was almost rock, the way the spirit with which he, wrote that music. And, but that's just one example. Then you have just, over time, just musicians that I personally gravitated towards that just uncovered what I like and all that. And I think that's kind of the thing for all of us, the way we developed as a unit was that we all obviously have the same foundation, but we all are very unique. And Infinity's song does not sound like any one of us. It sounds like the collection of us, truly. So that's how we get to this. It's like, well, what do you like? And what do you like? What do you like? And then it comes to this kind of home.
Is that part of the writing process too? Someone brings an idea and then each person teases out what their part is, or does someone come with a fully formed idea? I believe you wrote Pink Sky, right? So
yeah, usually it's someone. Sometimes we write together, but actually we usually write separately. But I think that even in our separate writings, I think we all take into account the ear and the temperament of the other performers, because we're not performing it ourselves. So when I write, or when Angel writes, or whoever writes, we just write for the group, not for ourselves, because that's a whole different thing, different temperament, different everything.
Yeah, and you guys had at one point another sister in the group, Victory, and she did some of the writing too. So I imagine, and do you guys still work with her, and are you guys writing with her on any level?
We look forward to. I think that's our sister, so there's always an opportunity to collaborate, always an opportunity to work together, write together. When she went solo, I think there was a real desire for her to build her own sound. And also we had to do a lot of work, because Victory is a founding member of Infinity Song, and our sound was very much rooted in her musical paradigm when she was in the band. And so we actually had to relearn how we do music when she went solo, and that was a blessing, but it was also extremely challenging in terms of just the anatomy of what do we sound like now, going from losing 20% of the band, and then also 50% of the creative DNA. That was very challenging. But
until you could learn to, of course, reconfigure the creative process and supplement the 50 and become your own and find, right?
Yeah.
I imagine you guys now as a foursome are finding your path creatively. Metamorphosis Complete is such a wonderful project, and American Love Song is a new song that came out. It's incredible, really well written, beautiful song. So yeah, it seems like you guys are without Victory finding it would be like Earth, Wind, and Fire finding the way without, Maurice or something. You guys are figuring it out.
Oh, absolutely. I think so. Metamorphosis Complete was like completely written by us four, completely written and produced by us four. And at this point, it is exactly like 25%, 25%, 25.
Yeah,
we
it was a hard year, to be clear. It was 1 year where we were trying to figure it out. And then, thank God, we came out with better music than we've ever created together. So it's quite remarkable.
Yeah, I would agree.
For you, Momo, what was your sort of trajectory through discovering guitar and finding your voice?
So obviously the foundation that we've already, disclosed, like growing up in the household that I did, learning so much from my dad. But then as Israel pointed out, like once each of us reached a certain age in like adolescence, you kind of have an awakening, like, okay, what do I really want to do? How do I really want to sound? And I remember being about 11 or 12 or something, and the biggest woman singer influence that I had was Victory, actually, funnily enough. And I remember thinking, she has the best voice I've ever heard. I want to sound just like her. And, I would just watch her warming up, watch her performing, and I would be like, okay, if I can sound like her, I will be very happy. And that was my only goal. How do I sound like her? Like when people cite their influences and like they say like, oh, I learned this from Lauryn Hill and I learned that from, she's one of my initial influences,
Lauryn?
No, Victory.
Okay.
Also Lauryn.
You said Lauryn, and I started thinking about Unplugged and the guitar. Anyways,
No, absolutely. I was going to get to her next because absolutely huge. The Unplugged album actually changed my life. Also, Donny Hathaway, just excellent in every way. Nina Simone as well, just excellent at what she does, but so unique. Same for Ella Fitzgerald. Like, I love vocalists that they aren't necessarily doing every riff and run under the sun, but they have a very distinct voice. Donny Hathaway, his voice can come on and you know just who that is. There's no question, and he can stop time. He can stop the room. Same for Nina Simone. Feeling Good comes on, everybody's silent, So like that type of grounded vocal ability is rare, but so powerful. Really inspired me when I was like 16, 17 and just finding my legs. And then from there, discovering more like current artists and being like, wait, okay, I kind of like pop. Okay, I kind of like rock. That's cool too. And then just taking what I like from each of these artists, each of these genres, and doing my best to like, as any artist does, doing your best to use it all to make one thing for yourself, one lane for yourself.
I'm gonna let you guys do your song, Metamorphosis. I was real scared to come out this time. That was great, y'all. I want to thank Infinity Song, Abraham, Momo, Angel, Israel, shredding the guitar. That was beautiful. I want to thank Tribeca for having Broken Record here. It's a wonderful live taping, and thank you guys for coming out and watching us up here. It was great to have you guys, and hope to do this again.
Let's do it.
Yay, thank you.
In the episode description, you'll find a link to a playlist of some of our favorite Infinity Song tracks and also some of our favorite soft rock songs. Be sure to check out youtube.com/Broken Record Podcast to see all of our video interviews. And be sure to follow us on Instagram @The Broken Record Pod. You can follow us on Twitter @Broken Record. Broken Record is produced and edited by Leah Rose with marketing help from Eric Sandler and Jordan McMillan. Our engineer is Ben Tolliday. Broken Record is a production of Pushkin Industries. And if you like this show, please remember to share, rate, and review us on your podcast app. Our theme music's by Kenny Beats. I'm Justin Richmond.